Hello, everyone. This is Gregory. I am the Dragon King, and welcome to the Dragon's Den. Most of you have not seen me in a minute because I have been doing things outside of the YouTube space that, in the fact that nobody is subscribing. But I will continue to push on because maybe I will eventually do a story that somebody will appreciate and understand and accept as something that, excuse me, let me get adjusted here, that they need. Having said that, I just want to make sure that I'm doing stories that you all appreciate or want. So I put a poll up asking what other videos would you like me to do on this channel besides the stuff that I'm already doing. I put LGBTQIA, political issues, general political issues. What else did I have on the listed there? Reality, social media, viral news stories, and there was another one. I forget, but I think I put 4 of them up there. So you all let me know which one you like. Which one would you like me to do? Because I'm going to continue to do the political stuff, particularly when it's involving the LGBTQIA plus community, because I think it's necessary to do that. And while everybody is sleeping on those issues, they are affecting us on a daily basis. And while there's nothing wrong with doing salacious videos, doing gossip videos, but there needs to be a balance, particularly for the LGBTQIA plus community. We cannot ignore weekly what is going on behind the scenes because nobody is talking about it. I don't see it on any vlogs except for maybe a few channels, because it's not like we can ignore what's happening to us. A 5-minute segment on somebody's platform does not do the justice and the insidious type of stuff that is going on against the LGBTQIA plus community, both in our local, state, federal, and international legislation laws in regards to the LGBTQIA plus community. And I think we're doing ourselves a disservice by not uncovering those stories. So that's what I'm doing here today, and that's what I will continue to do. And I believe, I know I will find my niche and people who understands that this channel will be about current, intelligent, and funny, videos, fun videos, but also a balance. It's basically a balance. And again, if you all want to see anything different outside what I'm doing, I'm going to do that, on a case-by-case basis, depending on what the story is. So let's get into this. We're talking about today's story. Well, all the stories are from LGBTQ Nation, and there's 4 stories. No, there's 1 story that's local. The other 3 are LGBTQ Nation. So let's get into this first one involving our president, Joe Biden, and it's from LGBTQ Nation. The story is done by a John Russell. And the title is Joe Biden Boots Uganda from Trade Deal Over Horrific Kill the LGBTQ Community Members Law. So it says the U.S. has removed Uganda from the list of nations eligible to benefit from the African Growth and Opportunity Act, the AGOA, due to the enactment last spring of its horrific Anti-Homosexuality Act. In a December 29 proclamation, President Joe Biden wrote that he had determined that Uganda, along with Central African Republic, Gabon, and Niger, does not meet the requirements to continue benefiting from the trade deal. Okay. And I did a video on why Africa is doing their own thing anyway, right? So it says the law has drawn international condemnation, including from President Biden and Texas Republican Ted Cruz. Accordingly, I have decided to terminate the designations of the Central African Republic, Gabon, Niger, and Uganda as beneficiary sub-Saharan African countries for purposes of Section 506A of the Trade Act, effective January 1st, 2024, Biden wrote. The move follows Uganda's enactment last year of the Anti-Homosexuality Act, the law signed by Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni last May made what it described as aggravated homosexuality, punishable by death penalty. It also imposed a life sentence for recruitment and funding of same-sex activities, and even banned identifying as LGBTQ. The law has been called one of the most extreme anti-LGBTQ plus bills in the world and has drawn international condemnation. In a May 29th statement, Biden called for the law to be repealed and said that his administration would incorporate the impacts of the law into its review of the East African nation's eligibility AGOA. In October 30th, letter to the Speaker of the House and President Pro Tem of the Senate, Biden announced his intention to terminate the designation of the four African nations AGOA beneficiaries. Specifically, he wrote that Uganda's government has engaged in gross violations of internationally recognized human rights. Despite intensive engagement between the United States and Central African Republic, Gabon, Niger, and Uganda, these countries have failed to address United States concerns about their non-compliance with the AGOA eligibility criteria, Biden wrote. Passed in 2000 and extended in 2015, AGOA allows eligible sub-Saharan African nations to export 1,800 products to the U.S. duty-free, according to the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative. Eligibility is reevaluated annually by the U.S. President according to rigorous criteria that includes enacting policies to reduce poverty, combat corruption, and protect human rights. Okay, so what does that all mean? America is, now you can look at this two ways, right? Playing the devil's advocate for this particular, story. You can say that America, United States of America, has its own issues. Absolutely do. And being a black, gay, queer man, whatever you want to call it myself, there are issues with dealing with black, gay, queerism, or just being black, queer and gay, period, in the LGBTQIA plus community. America has its own issues, right? America has its own issues of transgender people being exited out of the world, as well as gays, as well as lesbians and things, and everybody in the community. So the devil advocate in me will say, how can you determine what another country should be doing with their marginalized population when you can't really fix the issues that are going on with your own marginalized population, the LGBTQI plus community in the United States? And that's a fair assessment from the outside looking in. Now, as a president of the United States, he has, or she would have, an obligation to say crimes against humanity or civil rights crimes against another human being. That's something that, our history tells us in the United States is not going to be allowed, although unfortunately it is happening most in southern states and sometimes in the Midwest, that as the president of the United States, I have to set a standard. Yes, my country has its own issues, but as the president of the United States, people look to us for guidance in these matters. So I have to say, well, I cannot fix all the things going on in my own backyard. I have to make sure that you are not allowed to participate in these things, because as the president of the United States, we have to set a certain standard. One where we protect human rights, although they do badly at that most of the time in the United States. Two, we have to provide a picture, a sense of hope, which sometimes they don't do right as well. And thirdly, we are the United States. We have to set standards for that people can understand that we did not come to this level in our society for no reason. So all of that is playing a factor in what President Biden is doing. But again, I just gave you the devil's advocate stuff. So me personally, for my own opinion, I get what President Biden is trying to do, but I'm also, I don't condone exiting of gay people because I'm a gay man myself. I would never go to places like the Bahamas, the Caribbean, Jamaica, Africa, where I was not welcome as a one, a United States citizen, and two, as a black gay United States citizen. I'm not going to do that. You know, there are places that I'm not going to go anyway. A better situation, and this is, you know, me being that person from the outside looking in, a better situation would be I'm not going to go to these places. Biden should have took the approach, look, as the President of the United States, these are my concerns on an international human rights level, but also as a human being who may have gay relatives, gay friends who I actually care about, and things that I want to see are prosper for them. I'm going to put a ban on all Americans going to what is this? The Central African Republic, Gabon, and Niger. We will not allow our citizens to go there. You will not be allowed to bring anything in this country from there. If that is the stance they're going to take, that is one that could have made a difference. That is one that they would have been like, yeah, we're going to still be who we are, but maybe we can make them compromise. If the goal for President Biden and, you know, his power within America's power within the United Nations, that is one way. If they were going to use that power would have been done in an unquestionable kind of way, because that nothing says you're not going to be tolerated than blocking, making sure, you know, nobody can fly in, just like they do Cuba. Cuba, a lot of people cannot fly into Cuba. You know, there was a limited window once upon a time of someone who is Cuban American to go into Cuba and still be considered, you know, an American and don't have to worry about that. But for everybody else, you had to fly to places like Mexico, then fly into Cuba and all of that. The problem is, on the way back, they're looking at you like, where did you get, you know what I'm saying, you flew into Cuba for what reason? That type of thing. Flying into Mexico was not the problem, but once you go from Mexico to Cuba, you know, was an issue coming back, you know, from my understanding. But that's the same thing I would do. You know, if President Biden truly was trying to be effective at saying America, you know, we have this certain position, then you block all travel to these places, Gabon and Niger, Niger and Central African Republic. No travel, no products, nothing. You know, so, you know, I guess this is the move. You know, this is what he was going to do. So I do respect the fact. Again, you can't tell a country necessarily what to do, but I do feel a certain way of like, hey, you know, you don't want gays in your country. That could be problematic for us business wise. It's a lot going on here, and it's a lot to take from why this was done. So, you know, you can see it from both sides. You know, America being a hypocrite with their own issues of gay tolerance and, you know, I think transgender people being exited over here in the United States. But then you can also see, well, okay, we're doing what we can here, but you're not going to be a part of this United Nations if you're going to be exiting people, you know, for being who they are. So it's a lot going on here. So that's the first story. So that's my assessment of it. Now, in more political news, Nikki Haley. But before we get to that, this story was from LGBTQ Nation. It was done by Alex Bollinger. This is Alex Bollinger. at LGBTQ Nation. And the title of the article is Nikki Haley says no one is joining the military because they're scared of gender pronoun classes. So the story goes on to say, who's currently, Nikki Haley, who's currently in second place in the poll for the GOP primary after Donald Trump blamed trans people for the military not being able to meet its recruitment goals in a rant full of false statements. The first one is a false statement. The first one is a false statement. The former South Carolina governor and Trump administration officials say that the U.S. military recruitment is down 25%. While appearing on the show from the Christian web-based media company Centerpoint, recruitment was actually down 2.7%. So how do you create a lie that starts at 25% and when it's actually confirmed to be a lie, it's only 2.7 in actual and factual reduction in military recruitment, okay? In 2022 compared to 2020, according to the Department of Defense release, right? So it's not down only 2.7%. That's like nothing, right? So for the first time, military parents are telling their kids, don't do it. First of all, that's a lie. A lot of parents have been telling their kids, don't do it since everything that started coming out about the weapons of mass destruction not being real, when they were put on trial, when the governor, Colin Powell, said that he was told that, but realized there was no connection to Iraq during the Twin Towers. Now, this is not alleged, you know what I'm saying? And hopefully YouTube doesn't strike me for that, but it came out that there was no connection to 9/11 and Saddam Hussein. There was no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq when the 9/11 occurred. So, and there was testimony to that fact, and Colin Powell and various other people said there was no weapons of mass destruction. It came out years later, but there was no connection to 9/11 and Saddam Hussein, and it wasn't. Okay, we know that now. Those are facts. Okay. So Nikki Haley claimed the reason is look at what's happening in the military. They're not mission focused anymore. I would think now you gotta understand. You got all these other places. They are mission focused. What do they focus on? The military itself is a mission of security, a mission of prominent placement of force. That in itself is a mission. Okay? For goodness sake, stop making them take gender pronoun classes. I haven't heard this at all. And this is from a former Marine. She said exasperated over something that does not exist. It's demoralizing to our military. Stop all these programs that don't matter. This stuff is not happening. This stuff is not happening. She also decried diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in the military, apparently suggesting that making the military more hostile to women, people of color, would help recruitment. She said that the solution to the military's recruitment problem is to get people who enlist because they so love the country, or our freedoms and our blessings that we have. Haley never served in the military. Absolutely not. And it's always the people that have never served that don't know what's going on. It's always people that didn't have the courage or the bravery to sign the contract thinking they know how the military and how veterans think more than anybody who's actually in the military and served. And it happens all the time, particularly in places like the VA. It's always. I ran into an individual one time who I worked with, sort of, told me that he did not have respect for people that signed up for the military. He only had respect and support of people who were forced to go into the military. That means that you are one of those people that didn't have the bravery, didn't have the courage to sign up to go to the military. There was no draft in the 90s. There was no draft in the 80s. So, of course, everybody that was going to sign up in those decades were going to be somebody who volunteered, showing bravery and courage and knowing full well that it may end tragically if put in a wartime situation. But other folks, like the individual I'm speaking of, said that he had no respect for people who signed up for it. Of course you don't, because you weren't brave and courageous enough to do it. Period. Period. Okay. While gender pronoun, well, let me see what else. Haley never served in the military. Okay. Haley posted a video of her rant to social media and repeated the false 25% statistic. A community note on X, formerly Twitter, attempted to correct her misinformation, right? I don't know why it's attempted. All you had to do is respond unless she deleted it. Okay. Now, according to this, no, I ain't going to read that because it's already been said. While gender pronoun classes don't exist, the U.S. Army does provide training on its policy that allows transgender people to serve openly. Several slides about trans people that made statements like the Army is open to all who can meet standards of military service. Exactly. If you can meet those standards, boot camp, health-wise, all that, if you can do the job of what a soldier, a military person that can do 24 hours a day if needed, that's it, period. Doesn't matter. All that other don't matter, okay? And said to treat trans soldiers with dignity and respect, because caused outrage in the right-wing media in 2012. Of course it will, because that defeats their narrative that transgender people are not real people. Transgender people are not real soldiers because they can't identify with who they are. Of course they can. They can use the firearm. They can use the equipment, the tools, and the necessary resources they have to be the soldiers. You all are just hoping that your transgender, gay agenda works in the minds of the military. If someone wants to serve their country and they know all the responsibilities, they know all the duties, and they demonstrate those duties without any hesitation, what is the fucking problem? What is the fucking problem? Okay? Because if you're in a wartime situation or a peacetime situation, you're going to want to know that that person got your back. It doesn't matter if they're a trans man, trans woman. If they got your back in a wartime situation, that's all you should be worried about. What you do back in garrison after the war is over, or the conflict is over, that's whatever. But in that foxhole, in those trenches, you don't give a damn. You better not give a damn if it's a transgender woman or a transgender man. All you want to know is they can shoot their weapon and hit the target and destroy the target. That's what you want to fucking know. All the rest of this shit is none of your fucking business. The branches of the U.S. military have fallen between 11 and 23% short of 2023 recruitment goals. Part of the problem, according to the Department of Defense, is that over 3/4 of 17 to 24-year-olds in the U.S. are not qualified to serve due to medical, physical, and mental health. Exactly. So whatever they're doing in society, okay, whatever's going on in society, that's what's affecting them. Not that they're transgender, not that you're a trans woman, trans man, bisexual, lesbian, gay, queer. It's whatever is going on in their own personal life in general. Family, professional, psychological. That's what's preventing the reduction of the 2.7%, not the 25%. So Alyssa Ferris on The View, you'll never see this, but, check your home girl, the one that you support, the one that you believe will be a great Republican representative in the White House. Check her on these facts, period. Okay? Haley is currently in second place in the GOP primary with an average of 11%. Trump is currently polling at 62%, and Florida and Governor DeSantis, we don't even want to talk about him. We've done enough talking about him on this channel, but again, Nikki Haley, you out of line. You don't know what you're talking about when it comes to this. And see, that's the thing of the beauty of the internet. That's the beauty of the internet. We don't have to rely on 3 news sources to give us the accurate news. You got people like myself and others who are out here living it firsthand. We know what's going on. So you have a plethora. You have a smorgasbord. You have a buffet of knowledge, and you have to figure out which one is which. Sometimes the 3 power networks, the major networks, get it right, and sometimes it's the little guy like myself, we've got it right. Either way, you've got options, and thank you to the internet for that. Okay, now the next story is from LGBTQ Nation, and it is one that we hear about a lot. It is one that most people can relate to. either them being the person that it's been done to, or the family member of that who survived the attack. Okay, so this is from LGBTQ Nation, and the story was done by a Daniel Villarreal, Daniel Villarreal at LGBTQNation.com. Got to give him the credit, okay? Gay inmate choked and beaten to death. Jail officials didn't intervene, family says. And according to Daniel Villarreal here, the man who beat him says he did not agree with the victim's sexuality. Let me do that all again for y'all in case you didn't hear it. Gay inmate choked and beaten to death. Jail officials did intervene, family says. The man who beat him says he did not agree with the victim's sexuality. Okay? And this was done by LGBTQNation.com, and the story was written by Daniel Villarreal. Okay, so let's get into it. The family of 29-year-old gay man Janet Gefford says that the Florida jail officials allowed Gefford's cellmate to lethally, I'm gonna say alleged because YouTube is they shit. The family of 29-year-old gay man Janet Gefford says that the Florida jail officials allowed Gefford's cellmate to allegedly beat him for 21 minutes before intervening. Gefford died from his injuries 16 days later. Okay? Later. Allegedly. The family's lawyer has questioned the Broward County, of course this is in Florida, Sheriff's Office, BSO, about his murder, though it's unclear if the family will take any legal actions against the office. The BSO, Broward County Sheriff's Office, has placed two detention somebody didn't write this right. The BSO has placed 2 employees on detention on paid leave while investigating. Why they always put them on paid leave? It should be you fired, and if it's proven that you didn't do anything, then you get that money back. It shouldn't be you on paid leave. No, ain't no paid leave. Nobody gets a vacation when they're involved in something like this. It should be you're going to be fired, and if it's proven you acted within the policy, regulations, and the scope of your job, then you will be rehired and that money will be paid back to you. That's how this shit should go. Because enough is enough with this paid leave bullshit, okay? So it goes on to say, prison surveillance video from the December 16th showed 35-year-old cellmate Kevin Barnes, the one who allegedly had killed Janet Gefford, choking Gefford for 2 minutes. Gefford lost consciousness and Barnes stumped on him 10 minutes later. The beating lasted for 21 minutes overall, and no detention officers intervened. The family's attorney, Josiah Graham, told WPLG Barnes later told investigators that he did not agree with them. This is the alleged assailant, who allegedly, exited out Gefford. He did not agree with Gefford's lifestyle because he was gay and that Gefford smelled and never cleaned himself. Why do we the whole clean himself part? You in jail, you ain't gonna be smelling like a grocery store. Not a grocery store, but you ain't gonna be smelling like a grocery store that has a floral shop in it. You in jail. I don't know what type of fragrances they wear, but you in jail. I don't even know why that was a thing. So I guess did the man he said he smelled and never cleaned himself. So this Kevin Barnes sounded like he was a Virgo, a psychotic Virgo. That's just what it sounded like to me. He said he didn't clean his smell any smell. That sounded like a psychotic Virgo to me, a very psychotic Virgo. Who only a Virgo would say that in that environment. Only a Virgo would say something like that. That just I don't know, right? That's the astrology in me, because that it sounds just like a toxic Virgo. Anyway, so it says Gefford was declared brain dead 10 days later. He was placed on life support to harvest his organs. He died 5 days later on December 31st of 2023. Broward County Public Defender Gordon Weed said the detention officials shouldn't have placed both Jafar and Barnes in the same cell because they both suffer from mental health issues. I knew it was. I didn't even read that part, and I said it was a toxic Virgo. Toxic Virgo. I knew it was. I knew that's what it was. He had mental issues. Okay? He had mental issues. And most Virgos, I'm going to tell you something, a little secret. A little secret. Most of you fucking Virgos have more problems than a goddamn insane asylum. But nobody will know because you judging, you criticizing, and you analyzing them. Period. Period. The family in the Royal wrote the BSO asking why jail deputies didn't respond to the attack. Weeks also said that the jail deputies' actions may have violated Jafar's constitutional protections from cruel and unusual punishment and his rights under the Prison Rape Elimination Act, a 2003 law that requires detention centers to protect detainees from victimization. Now, the woman, the mother says, "I thought my son," she's referring to Jafar, was safer in jail than in the streets. Clearly, mental issues. She wanted, unfortunately, sometimes it takes something like jail to get that mental health journey in place. You know what I'm saying? It just does sometimes because you're away from those triggers and you're in a place where that behavior seemingly, not guaranteed, but seemingly can be controlled till you get to those next steps of mental health care, right? Marcia Irving, Jafar's mother, told WPLD, "Somebody beat my kid up real bad, and then he kept doing it. He kept after he was out." Okay. In a statement, BSO, the Broward County Sheriff's Office and its Internal Affairs Department was investigating the murder and had placed a detention deputy and a detention technician on an administrative investigative leave with pay. No, absolutely not. The new union policy should be if they are involved, no matter what the level of involvement in a situation as an officer of their prison or detention center, or anyway, if you are involved with anything involving an attempted exiting of someone or an actual exiting of someone, you should be fired with the probability, of coming back once no wrongdoing has been confirmed by all parties, confirmed by the legal parties involved to make those decisions. There should be no pay without leave. Absolutely not. There should be none. I'm just letting y'all know. That should be one of the new union bylaws. Period. Done. All right. And so hopefully the mother finds justice for her son. Hopefully she'll find justice. Okay. Now, in a local story, here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Yes, that's where I'm from. So here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, we often, as a person who has been to a lot of drag shows, but I have been to a few. I've been to very few in Milwaukee. You know what I'm saying? Because I lived away for a number of years. But apparently, there is one prominent, very well-known drag performer who had made a mark in the city of Milwaukee here, and she has passed away. The drag queen, the performer has passed away, and this was done by Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, and the story is by Drake Bentley and Quinn Clark of the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. It says Wisconsin LGBTQ plus community mourns death of drag performer Tempest Heat. Okay, Milwaukee lost a vibrant part of the local LGBTQ community. Noted drag performer Tempest Heat died this week at the age of 41. May Tempest rest in peace. Tempest Heat, the drag persona of Jonathan Carthel Huglet, performed on stages in Milwaukee and won many statewide titles over the years. More than an entertainer, Huglet was an advocate, spouse, son, and friend. An official cause of death hasn't been determined. No, we don't need to get into that. Broderick Pearson, also known as Montel Infinity Ross, met Tempest in the early 2000s during a dance audition. Tempest became Pearson's sister ever since. That's when, but you know, I don't discuss nobody's health. You know what I'm saying? Let's just celebrate their life and move on. That's when I fell in love with Tempest. Pearson said, because I'm like, who is this big thick boy being able to keep up with some of these skinny dancers and outdo them? So the article is basically immortalizing this individual who gave a lot of people through their performances. Tempest Heat gave a lot of people a lot of joy through the performance that they did in drag. Gave a lot of people joy here in Milwaukee, and oftentimes, you know, Milwaukee does not get the credit that it deserves for having some great drag shows, great LGBTQ performance artists. And I think that unfortunately, this is one of those times where we are doing that. But in a way, and they have been celebrated before with awards and statewide championships for their work. But, you know, we don't want to wait, you know what I'm saying, till someone has moved on to the great beyond, whatever that is for you. We want to make sure that we celebrate, give people their flowers, particularly in the LGBTQIA plus community, all the time. Not just when they win awards, but because of the work that they're doing, the change that they're making. You know, so more articles should be done about them. More, you know, create a wall, you know what I'm saying, a mural. If I had the money to do it, I would do it in a safe space where it would be vandalized, but celebrate these individuals who and you know, who gave us joy in our community. Just like they'll have a mural for these presidents and these civil rights leaders. We need a mural for our prominent people in the LGBT community, drag or otherwise, who has made a difference. And so that is something that we should do. Who knows? I would love to start it, you know, commission somebody to do those type of things who made a difference in the community, and it will be necessary. So those are all the stories. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I'm, you know, looking for other good stories. Again, I put the poll up for the things that you all might want me to do. LGBTQ, political issues, general politics, social media, viral stories, and there was another one. Oh yeah, movies and books. I'm a writer. I'm working on publishing my second book as soon as the copyrights get here. I also did some other things that I'm gonna show you, not until everything is signed and the ink is dry, and then I'll show you some things other. And so yeah, I'm a writer. I write science fiction. I love science fiction. So if there are any books or anything like that you want me to review, this is not really a movie review channel, but certain things, like I did a quick little review on the reimagined Broadway adaptation of The Color Purple. I did a quick review on that. I seen the original movie, but for me, the original was a classic, but this Broadway dance singing adaptation, it was just phenomenal. The other one was great, but this was phenomenal for the age and for the era. It really, you know, set the standard, and all of them, everybody was great on there. So y'all let me know what you want. I put the poll up, and so yeah, that's it for me. My name is Gregory. Thank you for coming. I am the Dragon King. I am the Dragon King. I am the Dragon King. Wait a minute, hold on. I am the Dragon King, and welcome to the Dragon's Den. And like I said, all of you are my 7 subscribers, which I love. I love all of y'all and my potential subscribers. You all will be knighted. You know what I'm saying? Everybody will be knighted. I will do it soon for those that are here. But you are knights, as far as I'm concerned. And welcome to the castle. Welcome to the kingdom. And again, don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Send this to all your political friends. Send this to all your gay rights community friends. Send this to all your black friends. You know what I'm saying? Send this to all your elderly people, you know, who want to understand better over why it is so important to support the LGBTQI plus community and just give them a different alternative. All right. So don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. All right. I think that's it. All right.